Do you know someone like this? The person at work who's always the first to offer to grab coffee for the team. The one who picks up the tab at lunch without even flinching. The one strangers on the street would describe as just the nicest person. But the moment they walk through their front door, cold, irritable, gone. The same person who bought rounds for the whole office won't even sit through a 10-minute phone call with their mom. The same person who smiles at strangers all day comes home and can't be bothered to ask their partner how their day was. If any of that hit a little close to home, good. Because that's exactly what we're here to talk about today. This isn't a video about hypocrites. This isn't about bad people. This is about a psychological pattern so deeply wired into us that most people never even notice it's happening. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on why so many of us are our best selves for strangers, and our worst selves for the people we love the most. Let's get into it. Here's the first reason, and it might be more familiar than you think. We are all, every single one of us, constantly managing how we appear to the world. At work, at social events, on social media, we perform. We're the helpful coworker, the reliable friend, the person who always has it together. And that performance takes energy. Real, measurable mental energy. Psychologists call this ego depletion. Think of your ability to self-regulate, to stay patient, to be kind and composed, as a battery. Every smile you force, every frustration you swallow, every time you say, "No worries," when you're actually kind of dying inside. That all drains the battery. So by the time you get home, by the time you're around the people who already know you, who've already seen you at your worst and stuck around anyway, the battery is empty. And here's the cruel irony. The safer a relationship feels, the faster we let that battery run dry in front of them. We don't perform for family the way we perform for strangers. We don't feel like we have to. Which sounds like a good thing. But it isn't. Because, not having to perform, slowly turns into, not even trying. And the people who love you the most end up getting the version of you that has nothing left to give. Now here's where it gets a little uncomfortable. Our brains are reward machines. Every single behavior we repeat because somewhere, somehow, our brain learned it would get a payoff. When you do something kind for a stranger or a coworker, the feedback is immediate. They smile, they say thank you, they tell someone else what a great person you are. Your brain registers all of that and releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical, right on the spot. It feels good to be appreciated. So your brain says do that again. Now think about what happens when you do something kind for your family. You bring your partner flowers, and they say, "Oh, thanks." You send your parents money and they just expect it. You put in serious effort for a family dinner and no one even notices. The payoff just isn't the same. And your brain notices. This is called the reward differential. And it quietly shapes your behavior without you realizing it. Your brain isn't being evil. It's just doing what brains do, optimizing for the highest return. And the highest return, emotionally, tends to come from people who don't already take you for granted. So over time, without even meaning to, you start investing more energy where the rewards feel bigger, and the people closest to you get less. But here's the part that might actually make you stop and sit with this for a second. There's a psychological concept sometimes called the safe target. The idea is simple and kind of devastating. You can't lose your cool at your boss. You can't snap at a customer. You can't take out your frustration on a friend, because friends can leave. But family? Family feels permanent. Family feels like they'll still be there tomorrow, no matter what. And that safety, that unconditional sense of, they're not going anywhere, becomes the very reason they absorb the worst of you. All the stress from your commute. All the anger from that meeting. All the exhaustion and anxiety and frustration that built up over the day. You held it together all day long. And then you walked through the door. And it all came out. Not on the people who caused it. On the people who love you. Let that sink in. The people you feel safest with are the ones paying the price for everyone else. Now let's go one layer deeper, because this is where it gets really interesting. Think about your social relationships outside of family. They have a kind of clarity to them, right? You know the rules. You know what's expected. You know that if you show up, listen, and reciprocate, the relationship works. Family is different. Family relationships are built on something much murkier. Love and obligation and history and guilt and expectation, all tangled together. There's no clear rulebook. There's no obvious, if I do this, I'll get that. And here's the thing about the human brain: it hates ambiguity. It hates investing effort into something when the outcome is unclear. So your brain, without your permission, starts pulling back from the relationships that feel the most uncertain, and redirecting that energy toward the ones with a more predictable payoff. It's not that you love your family less. It's that your brain is quietly, constantly doing a cost-benefit analysis, and family keeps getting shortchanged. Here's one more thing you need to know. And honestly, it might be the most important part of this entire video. Research suggests that these patterns don't just appear out of nowhere. For a lot of people, they start in childhood. If you grew up in a home where love felt conditional, where affection was given when you performed well and withdrawn when you didn't, your brain learned something early on. It learned that love has to be earned, that you only get warmth when you've met the requirement. And that lesson doesn't stay in childhood. It follows you into every relationship you have as an adult. So you become someone who works hard to earn love from the outside world. From coworkers and acquaintances and strangers. Because that's where the feedback is clear. But with family, you expect unconditional love without offering it in return. You expect your partner to understand when you're exhausted. You expect your parents to be patient when you're short with them. But when they need the same grace from you, the conditions aren't met. So the warmth doesn't come. It's a cycle most people never even know they're in. So what do we do with all of this? The first step is the hardest one: awareness. You have to be honest enough with yourself to look at the pattern and say, yeah, that's me. Not as a judgment, not as a reason to hate yourself, but as information. Accurate, useful, honest information about where your energy is actually going. Because here's what the research also tells us. The wounds that last the longest are the ones that come from family. Not your boss criticizing your work in a meeting. Not a stranger being rude on the street. The things that stay with us, the things that shape us, are the moments when someone who was supposed to be our safe place made us feel small instead. That applies to what others have done to you. And it applies to what you might be doing to someone else right now. The people in your life who are too close to impress, too familiar to perform for, too permanent to worry about losing? Those are the ones who are quietly absorbing everything you're not willing to feel. So here's the only thing I want to leave you with. Being good to your family isn't a skill. It's a choice. A conscious, deliberate, repeated choice. Tonight, when you get home, try this. Before you walk through that door, just pause for a second. Take a breath, and instead of bringing in the worst of your day, try to bring in at least one small piece of warmth. Not a grand gesture, not a speech, just a moment of presence. A real one. Because the people who love you unconditionally are not your pressure valve. They're not the place you go to finally let it all out. They are the relationship. They are the whole point. And becoming the best version of yourself for the people who already know the worst of you. That's not easy, but it might be the most important thing you ever decide to do.